want you to close your eyes for just a moment, and I want you to imagine that your life is a movie. And I want you to think of what song is on the soundtrack movie to your life. Think of a song that immediately comes to mind that's related to your life. Who can share? Come on. What is it, Amara? You can tell.
I got it.
You know what I'm saying? Okay.
Happy by Pharrell Williams.
Happy by Pharrell Williams. What else?
This is my fight song.
This is my fight song. Who's that by? Okay.
Water by Joe Gifted.
Okay. Who else? Who else can share? What's on the soundtrack?
A tribute to a body.
A tribute to?
A body.
Okay. Anybody else?
What's the question?
Question is, what is the song that comes to mind as if your life is like a movie, what's on the soundtrack to your life? Okay. Yes.
It's that song, it's like, let me tell you about my best friend, but I don't know who it's back.
Oh, okay. Okay. You got another one?
Some girls, I don't get it.
I'm not familiar with that one.
Some girls.
Well, the reason I asked you this is because we all have songs that have transformed our lives. About 25 years ago, I was a senior in college. I was studying to become a teacher, and I was on my way to student teaching. And this song came on the radio. And I was listening to it, I'd never heard it before, and it sounded like this guy is rapping and singing at the same time. It was really unique. I've never heard anything like it before. And then it would come on around the same time, several times a day. And then I found out who it was, and I got the album, and it was sharing like really transformational information about life. And of course, the song is called Tennessee, and it was by our guest today, Speech from Arrested Development. And the reason I asked him to come in and share with you all is because we've been talking about social justice issues. And y'all remember Dr. G, Garfield Bright from Shy, who came in and talked about the history of hip-hop?
Yes.
So he talked about hip-hop and social activism. And so what we want to do is we want to engage Brother Speech in a conversation about how he was able to infuse his music with a lot of these social justice components, and at the same time, rise to the top, be a Grammy Award-winning artist, and have longevity in the field. Ashe?
Ashe.
All right, so let's give him a wonderful round of applause.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Chica, for inviting me. It's always an honor to be able to share a little bit about my life. Before I do anything, though, I just want to do a song, because that's what I do. That's sort of the reason I'm on earth, I believe. One of the main reasons I'm on earth. So I'll do a song. Since he mentioned Tennessee, I'll do a song about that. I wrote this song when my favorite grandmother, Ardenia Churn, passed away. And she died of a heart attack. And I used to spend all my summers with her in what I believed at the time was a very magical place for me. It was Tennessee. It was very rural, very country, and just truly magical times for me. And so my whole family, we went down to Tennessee for her funeral. And we all felt this sense of purpose as a family, and this sense of just renewal, knowing that when anybody passes in our family, a lot of their traits, a lot of their most powerful traits sort of seep into us, whether it's consciously or subconsciously. But that happens. Our ancestors have that way of empowering us. And so we all left there with that sense of purpose. And the same week, my only brother, Terry, he passed away as well of asthma attack. And so I wrote the song, and the last place that I saw them was was Tennessee. And so the chorus goes, take me to another place, take me to another land, make me forget all that hurts me, let me understand your plan. Take me to another place, take me to another land, make me forget all that hurts me, let me understand your plan. Lord, I've really been real stressed, down and out, losing ground. Although I am black and proud, problems got me pessimistic. Brothers and sisters keep messing up. Why does it have to be so damn tough? I don't know where I can go to let these ghosts out of my skull. My grandma passed, my brother's gone, and every once felt so low. I know you're supposed to be my steering wheel, not just my spare tire. But Lord, I ask you to be my guide and force and truth. For some strange reason it had to be. He guided me to Tennessee. Take me to another place. Take me to another land. Make me forget all that hurts me. Let me understand your plan. Take me to another place. Take me to another land. Make me forget all that hurts me. Let me understand your plan. That's Tennessee. You know, the challenge as an artist is how do you make people feel? And what I mean is, it's not a question. It's more of like, how do you make somebody feel something? Because life is packed with so much thickness. There's so much going on in each one of your lives. And in my life too. And it's tough because when somebody dies, all you see is the date they were born, a dash, and the date they died. And at most, no matter how much life they lived. In that, what's the little thing at the funeral that you get, the little pamphlet? What is it? In the obituary, at best, is 4 or 5 paragraphs. But they've lived for 50, 60, whatever amount of years that they've lived. Life is thick. How do you make people feel something? That's the challenge of an artist. How do you make them feel the journey? And so for that song, Tennessee, that was my challenge. Was how do I express to somebody the people that I love? And at the same time, growing up with activist parents. My mom, owning the largest, still to this day, 41 years later, owns the largest black newspaper in Wisconsin, Milwaukee. Or in Wisconsin, period, the state of Wisconsin. It's called the Milwaukee Community Journal. And I grew up around that activism. I grew up around my dad marching and my mom marching, both of them being active in starting black businesses and striving to employ black people and striving to uplift our people through the various issues and the education that Dr. Chico was just talking about. How do I do that? How do I intertwine my personal journey along with empowering people so that their journey can be a little bit better? And that's the challenge of an artist. And so I set about doing that when it was my turn to have a chance at reaching the world through music. I knew that I could do a lot of things. You know, a lot of artists talk about a lot of different things. But I personally felt this calling to speak from the perspective of our journey as black people, as African people throughout the world, and the wisdom of our ancestors, those that came before us. How can I speak that wisdom that they give us and follow it along to help us to be more empowered and more strong today? And so at every chance I got, that was the goal. And God sure blessed me. Our first album sold, in fact, we just celebrated our 25th year of our first album. And that first album, coming right out the gate, sold 5 million albums. We won, which meant so much to me, the NAACP award. Then we won 2 MTV awards. And then we won a Soul Train award. And then we won 2 Grammys. And we realized that God had blessed this journey. And so, in essence, every song that we write is to empower. It's to speak the truth and to empower. There's a song that I wrote recently. It's called Bloody. And in the Bible, there's a lot of different stories that talk a lot about how our hands are bloody with the blood of other people that we've either not educated or we've purposely exploited or oppressed. And this song starts off with, in the Democratic Republic of Congo, Hutu extremists, they massacred many souls. The Tutsis died, a genocide was full blown. Yet the world they watched, and thus the world they condoned it. That said, Biggie and Tupac, they both were sitting in. Source said that lyricism was in it. Get no more consciousness. Bling in it, bling in it. Now people about that bling in it. World massacres happen, no one rapping, no singing it. Corporations and rappers not getting along. We are distracted with girls wearing thongs. No more public enemy or remedies. With the oppressor, the oppressors all friendly. Bloody, whose hands stay clean. Bloody, trouble wars, power fiends. Bloody, we going down a broad road. Bloody, so many hands are bloody. From Israel to Palestine. Bloody, so many hands are bloody. Claiming divine by Quran. Bloody, so many hands are bloody. Live by the sword, die by the sword is the thing. Tupac was shot to death and Biggie next to money scheme. For the corporate entities with the rights to publishing all the hit songs by Bling and violence as a theme. Now both are legendary and revered as kings. Well, diamonds from Africa supply rappers with chains and rings. The game, they call it, well, an appropriate thing when the ghettos are worth 50 cents and no self-esteem. A waste of days, a craze, a phase. We waste away, decay, bloody, bloody, whose hands stay clean. Song called Bloody. So many hands are bloody. You know, that's why I was just listening to Lisa, Dr. Lisa, as you shared about the trafficking, and it just literally makes me sick to my stomach. Did it make any of y'all sick to your stomach just listening? It was so intense. And for me, I understand that things like this will happen, but what I know doesn't have to happen is the amount of it. And that's why you're an activist. That's why you stand up here today. That's why I believe some of you will leave here and will stay in touch, and you will become activists in some regard. It's just like how Chica became an activist. We met at the Shrine of Black Madonna, I believe it was. And he was speaking on a panel, I was speaking on a panel. And we stayed connected ever since. The life of an activist is only one that knows that I can do what I can with what I have in the moment that I have it. That's all I can do. I don't feel like I by myself will change the world. But I sure enough changed Chica.
Absolutely.
I changed 5 other million people. So I know that whatever I have, whatever little bit I have, I can do something that makes a difference. And the very fact that you all are here right now, from what Chica explained, that y'all are here as, and correct me if I'm wrong, but high school students that are able to take college courses soon or something like that?
Yeah.
It's because of the sacrifices others made prior to you. So all it takes is people to stand up. And things do change, and radically. But it does take people standing up. And so I write songs like that, and we've been blessed. In fact, a lot of y'all generation may or may not know this, because for various reasons, the music industry has become so one-dimensional. And especially with our music. The subject matter, the beats per minute, meaning the tempo, everything has become so one-dimensional. And a lot of this is on purpose. And so it robs us of our ability to even understand how we can make a difference. And so for us, we've been blessed because over the years and to this very day, we travel the world consistently. We release music. I got some music for y'all. I didn't know how many people are going to be here. So I'm going to give those out in just a minute. And I brought this very weird thing. It's going to be weird to y'all.
Oh, God.
I brought a cassette tape. Exhibit A. Vintage.
Don't let me see your cassette tape on eBay or Amazon or something.
Now you
Let's
guys
do
know
something.
what
Cassette tape is like
plastic thing, right? And if you mess it up, like it has actual things in it, like if you
Tape.
tape. If you mess up that tape,
Yeah,
not
the
play.
whole thing is.
And then like you got a little radio and it pops open and it's like you're
It's You never had one of those?
You gotta pick this out.
It's my first time.
Oh, yeah,
Hold on.
So let me just say this. Let me say this. So, yeah, I brought some cassette tapes, so we'll talk about that in a minute. But the group is called Arrested Development. My name is Speech. And I want y'all to research our music, check it out. Because, you know, I think y'all will like it. And so anyway, we tour the world. We've been going to the continent of Africa, to Australia, all throughout Europe, Japan, and Canada, different parts of Asia, and of course, the United States for years, and including this year. And so, it's been amazing. But again, the whole point of what we do is called life music because we want to talk about the power of life and not death. If y'all know anything about hip hop, a lot of the theme is about death. And one of the things that we've been criticized for as a group is that we stand up for things because in hip hop, a lot of times themes are popularized that should not be popularized. In fact, some of the things that you was just sharing about, pimps is popularized in hip hop. It's glamorized. And so even people that never grew up in that life, they are now so intrigued with it and so romanticized about it that they're attracted to everything about it, all aspects of it. And so Arrested Development was one of the groups that stood up against that. Not because we hated or disliked the artists. They're our peers. We love their artistry. I many times have to have a split mind between loving the art of something but hating the content of what they're sharing, knowing that it is totally crushing us as a people, and not just us as a people, but throughout the world, the spirits of people. But that's the cross that I bear. And so, as an activist, I think it is actually important to note that there will be persecution. And you mentioned it for you, coming from the pimps. For me, it's coming from the pimps. And the hustlers and the various different people in the game. But literally, my life being threatened, literally, people coming at us with threats because of what we speak about. And people definitely hating on us in the game because of what we speak about. So I could go on for quite a long time. I'll sing a song called, well, I'll explain first. A lot of people wonder, since we've been out for 30 years, why don't they hear us in the clubs and why don't they see us in the clubs? And I always respond with, I don't see you at the bank. And so I do this song called I Don't See You at the Club, I Don't See You at the Bank.
That's what I'm saying.
And it goes like this. Got the pear trees faking like the dogwood. The thunderstorms in the springtime, it's all good. And rappers killing it in the club, but can we brag now? Now Black Lives just had to die to get a flag down. And my rap has helped the map of Southside Atlanta. Was just to Selma 50 years, marching Alabama. Was just to Columbus, Ohio, teaching little kids. South by Southwestern Austin, teaching sampling. Like gynecologists, I do a lot of interviews. And I'm making some nice figures like the Jim do. And like Sandra Bland, my band be changing lanes without a signal at all. Now you want us to hang? You know some things are substantial, whether or not financial. And playing us with the other stuff way up on the mantle. So don't try to adjust your radio, don't change your channel. We take it down to glittery lights and just light a candle. I'll see you at the club. And I said, I'll see you at the bank. People gotta live their life and do their thing. Let me live, let me breathe, let me be me. He said, I'll see you at the club. And I said, I'll see you at the bank. People gotta live their life and do their thing. Let me live, let me breathe, let me be me. Let me live, let me breathe, let me be me. Let me live, let me breathe, let me be me. Let me live, let me breathe, let me be me. I'm seeing marriages dying just like miscarriages. We've been at it 20 years, changing the narrative. Father to my 2 kids, plus to add to my parenting. We took on a teen in a desperate need of a family. He was jacking cars and some other type of insanity, playing the role that media says is his humanity. Blacks is getting smoked with police taking the tote. They hate it when we do stand up, and yet they like a joke. The people losing hope to where most of them don't vote. And rap is turning to trap. The dope really means dope. I'm trying not to become someone I don't know. Look into the mirror. Is it friend or is it foe? Or is it both? Should I swim or should I float? Should I blend in within the scene that fits me most? Should I live life and try to fight for what I know? What I know is that my real life starts after the show. I will see you at the club. I said, I will see you at the bank. People gotta live their life and do their thing. Let me live, let me breathe, let me be me. He said, I'll see you at the club. And I said, I'll see you at the bank. People gotta live their life and do their thing. Let me live, let me breathe, let me be me. Let me live, let me breathe, let me be me. Let me live, let me breathe, let me be me. Let me live, let me breathe, let me be me.
Wow.
Finally consoling from years of mine, it was stolen, a sea of creativity, coming just like an ocean. I've fallen in love with music as if I drank a potion. My rhyming and my producing has never been more potent. I've overcome my challenge and life has been more in balance. Now people want to judge me on everything but my talent. They saying that I'm old like it's something I can't control. Aging is part of a package deal of having a soul. And what do you know? All you got to do is play the role of living life and just breathing. Lies start to receding. Things you start to believe in. Perspectives that you're seeing. Regardless of your hue, it's just common to human beings. They tell us that youth and strength is wasted on the young, and that everything that you have been has been wasted on some fun. But I believe that I can have fun until I'm deceased. Just please play this song in the clubs and in the streets. I'm out. So that's our new song, actually.
That was awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome. I was
Oh, I haven't seen it in the club.
I was getting ready to say, how can I buy it? Right.
It's poetry. Do you all have some questions for speakers?
No, it's speechless.
What age did you start?
Well, I started putting records out at 13. When I was 13, my dad owned a nightclub, and I used to DJ at the nightclub. And then I started rapping at that same time. I was in high school, and we would put out vinyl records. Anybody know vinyl?
They coming back.
Yeah, it's coming back. So we would put out, we would press up 200 vinyl records and sell them to our friends and stuff like that. But Arrested Development started officially in 1987 when I graduated high school. And so that's when we started officially as a group.
Why did you decide, what made you want to, stay true to your individuality? Like, what impact did you have in your life to really be who you are as a person?
I think a lot of things. One is my upbringing. My parents were very great parents. Always told me to, be myself. Always allowed me to be myself. But at the same time, just like most artists, because I meet artists constantly, and I was influenced by what was hot at the time. So there was gangsta hip hop that was really, really hot at the time, NWA or Cube or so many others. And I tried that, you know what I'm saying, but it just wasn't really where I was at, and it wasn't gaining any love. And I'm so grateful for that, because it forced me to reconsider and sort of think about, what am I really doing here? Am I just following a pattern? And so many artist friends of mine do that same thing. Some of them have had success, some don't. So I always tell people that you come into this world as an original, and you shouldn't leave as a carbon copy. So it's important to maintain your original voice. So I think that's one of the things. And then the second thing was other groups inspired me. Groups like Public Enemy. They're now my friends, but at the time I didn't know them, and their music was very heavy on political topics, and it was very popular. So I realized that there was a huge power in music that has activism in it, and it gaining popularity. It has power. Not just music, I should say that. All art that has popularity and activism in it, it has power over the sway of the generation and the population at the time. And so that was a big imprint on me, wanting to do songs that I felt like could be commercial enough to make it out there, and at the same time have the power to change. So, yeah.
Did you ever feel like anything would deter you from your original goals?
From doing what?
Like you're a hip hop activist, correct?
Yeah.
So did you ever feel like anyone or anything or any threat would deter you from what you originally planned to do?
Well, nothing, no. I honestly, I was rock solid on what I knew I needed to do. Now, if the question is, did anyone try to? By all means, in every way. As I was telling you, a lot of fellow artists that I was once cool with, but as our records got bigger and bigger on the charts, they felt more and more threatened. Similar to what the doctor was sharing about the income that's made, and when you take away these people's income, they coming at you. So that happened with me too. That happened with our whole group. It still happens to some extent today. But then also the record labels, who similar realities, where their monies are bigger when things are ignorant and simple and dumbed down. They make more money. So they don't like you to do, music with messages, especially as it starts to mess with their income. So definitely, I get it from a lot of angles. Yes, over here now, I get to hear someone right there.
What's your driving motivation? What drives you?
Honestly, people think this hokey when I say this, but the ancestors. I really believe that generations that came before us, they literally died thinking of us. Because if you think about some of the generations here in America in particular, they had no hopes for freedom.
Right.
They couldn't see it coming. But they still had faith that if they lasted, if they persevered, that somehow or another, beyond what they can understand with their own eyes, ears, and smell and taste, that we would be here at some point. And so now I'm here, you're here, and what are we doing with that? I just feel a certain obligation to make sure that I'm continuing to carry that same torch until it doesn't need to be carried. Yes?
Okay, so what does Arrested Development mean, and what's with the TV show the same name?
Yes. We came up with the name because we saw the black community in particular in a state of arrested development, halted growth. Primarily because of the huge holocaust of slavery and the things that went around it throughout the world. And we wanted to sort of put the name up as a banner as to what we're fighting against, to always remember. We had the name way before the TV show, and so when the TV show came out, it was a shock to us, but not only to us, thank God, it was a shock to the nation. Because the night it came out on Fox. It was during the Super Bowl, the sports commentators were talking about the fact that the TV show was coming on next, and they was like, is this about the hip hop group? And that helped us win a case in court, when we went to court, about the mistaken identity of having two names with the same name. So we ended up settling. So we ended up not going all the way through the court proceedings, but the first day of court, that allowed us to be able to settle it and get the right amount that we wanted to get. So we did fight them, and we did do well, yes.
They stole your name on purpose?
They did. They stole the name. Basically, we trademarked our name in 1993. And this show came out, I think it was 1997 or 6. I forget what year it came out. Maybe 2000. And long story short is, when you trademark your name, that prevents people, it's supposed to prevent people from using your name in the same area or medium of entertainment or use. So they just simply took it, thinking that we're a hip-hop group from Atlanta. We're not as huge as Fox. Fox is the TV network that put that show out. And they felt that we wouldn't fight back, and we did.
See you at the bank.
I think, okay, right there.
So you said the rest of the you guys are a group, and
Yeah.
I just know like a lot of the groups. I just know like groups like New Edition, stuff like that. They had problems and they would break up and stuff. So I just wanted to ask, how do you guys stick together and stay strong all throughout the years?
We didn't. we broke up in 1995 and got back together in 2000. So it was tough for us too. Anyone, y'all ever heard of the show called Unsung?
Yes.
It's on TV1. They did a special on us. So I hate it, but y'all can still check it out. I love the series, but I hate our episode. But that's besides the point. You can check it out and sort of learn a little bit about what we went through. Because they really focus on that and that only pretty much. Yes.
Breakup, you mean?
Yeah. You know they like the drama. Like TV always is looking for
the.
they're looking for the drama part. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, if I decided to check out that documentary, is there anything false in it? Is that why you paid it, or just that they only focus on one thing?
Both. There's some false things in it, and then they only focused on the drama. So in other words, sort of like, instead of chronicling a lot of the things that the group stood for and stands for, they focus more on almost like a Housewives of Atlanta style approach to the group, and just which there was inner bickering. So that part's not a lie. They're not lying about the bickering and the problems that we had, but it is a lie on how much they made like 80% of what the piece was about.
Did they ask for their input?
Yes, in fact, I sort of slapped myself for that because I approached them about it. I had another group, friends of mine. There's a group called Heatwave that I saw their episode, and I said, man, I love it, and I know them personally, so I said, hey, can you get me in touch, and blah, blah, blah. So I got in touch with them. So it is what it is. Yeah.
My question is, given the young men in the room, and I know there's an extra burden of being that African American male in this society, but what would you give them as some advice to make it? Because you came out as a rebel. So you came out as like the target in our community, already targeted.
Yeah.
So what would you say to them to just make them encouraged about their journey?
Yeah. As an artist or just as men?
In whatever chosen field they choose, like what advice would you give them to kind of stick in there? Because you went all the way. Most young men are not going to throw their lives out there like that, like
Right.
NWA and the rest of the stuff there. But what would you tell them to do to kind of be successful and stay in the game, whatever game?
That's a great question. I mean, for me personally, I think that understanding your innate power as a man in our community, and if you understand that, and that's to me one of the things that we try to push in our music. If you understand that, then your role is so deeply important in our community that I just tell brothers to stay true to who they really and truly are, as opposed to what society is trying to make them into. And usually society, especially now, is trying to degrade the power of the man and make it all about his material, everything he has on the outside of him, as opposed to what's in here and in here. So, the chains and everything else. Yeah.
I had two questions. My first one was, you were talking about the one-dimensional music of now. So what do you think about like rappers who actually like try to talk about real things like J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar against the rapper? And then my second question was, I really believe that I've heard of this group. So I wanted to know like what is you guys like number one song, your main song that you guys want to bring me for or something?
Well, to answer the first part of the question, I love a lot of artists. So you'd be surprised. My record collection is huge. So I mean, it has NWA in it. It has J. Cole. It has, the Fugees or Lauryn Hill and Jay-Z and Biggie and all. Because I love hip hop music and I love music. I love artistry. I love rhymes. I love flow. So I love all of that. So, but I love their contribution because I feel like they're in that same vein. And I believe that they do it for the same reason. I think, like, when I listen to Kendrick stuff or J. Cole or even Chance, I feel like they do it because they have to. That they would be sort of denying a huge part of who they are if they didn't do that. And so I respect them a lot. In fact, I have kids that's similar to y'all's age. So my daughter, her name is Zoe Renee. She's an actress on a new TV show called The Quad on BT. And her character is Noni. She's a little light-skinned girl with big hair. And so anyway, she's an actress, and she's only 20. My son is 22. and he's in the tech world, and so I'm around him, and so a lot of the music that they love, I love it too. I'm around it all the time. And in fact, we just got back from the BET Awards yesterday. So
I wanted to, hold on, before you ask your question, I want to be respectful because I know some of you all have to go, your ride is waiting and everything. So maybe we can do our closing affirmation, and then those that can stay, you're welcome to stay and ask questions. Ashe? This has been a wonderful dialogue. So let's all stand to our feet.